What's up, everybody? Welcome to another BTD Gaming deck profile, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most popular archetypes to ever be released in Yu-Gi-Oh!, and that is, of course, Burning Abyss. Now, a couple things about Burning Abyss. First of all, Burning Abyss was released in Duelist Alliance around 2014 alongside the UAs, and ever since, Burning Abyss has been just one of the most popular archetypes in the game, not just because of the power of the deck, but because of the lore as well. And we'll get to the lore in a second, but ever since this deck was released, it's seen play in multiple formats, and this is a deck that has been pretty timeless throughout the years. People still play it to this day, and I, of course, am also one of those people, because this deck just has very good consistency, good power level, and throughout the years, there have been cards that synergize with the deck very well to make it even better. And once we look at the deck profile, you'll see what I mean. But like I was saying before, people are also really invested in the lore of the deck. Burning Abyss is, first of all, it's a TCG exclusive, and it is based off of Dante's epic, The Divine Comedy, and more specifically, Dante's Inferno. As you can see, of the sort of main boss monster in the deck being Dante himself. These cards, they're very loose with the names a little bit. A lot of the names are based off of more Italian translation. And again, it is based off of Dante's Inferno, where Dante is traveling in the 9 circles of hell, in the first part of the Divine Comedy, and that's what a lot of these cards are based off of. So the lore itself, besides just the power of the deck, the lore itself is very popular among fans of this deck and fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's a big reason why people are really glad that this deck can still see play today, even though it is 8 years since it's been released. It's becoming an older deck, but it's one of those few older decks that still have pretty good viability in today's metagame. Is it the best deck of the format? No. It's definitely a more rogue option, but this card can take wins, and it also can catch your opponent off guard. There's also many different versions you can play of this deck. Today we're going to be talking about the more trap-heavy version of Burning Abyss, and we're going to be looking at a deck profile, so I hope you enjoy that, and maybe this will lead you to try out the deck as well. It's very fun to play. It's been popular for this reason. The monsters are really cool, their effects are really strong, there's some interesting loops, a lot of searching, a lot of recycling. So Burning Abyss, just a very strong archetype, and let's look at the deck profile. Alright, well, here we are at the deck list, and I know what you're thinking. 50 cards! 50 cards! Now, sometimes that is the price of doing business, and this particular build, yes, 50 cards, and you'll see why in a second, but if you are that passionate about it and you need to cut this down, go for it. But I think these are the cards necessary in the deck for it to function, and we'll see why in a sec. This deck can send cards, it can search cards, not just the monster cards, but even some of the traps too, depending on what you play. Alright, so yes, 50 cards, while it looks kind of crusty, it's necessary. So let's go through each card here. We obviously have Dasher and Celestial. This is for our Phoenix Enforcer package. Not much needs to be said there. And next we have Tour Guide from the Underworld. A card I put at 3 because, well, I want to see it turn 1. This is the 1 card combo. You can special summon from the deck your Rhino. The typical move is normal Tour Guide, special Graph, and then Exceeds off for Dante, etc. Alright, so you want to see Tour Guide turn 1. It is an Ash target, keep that in mind. So there are other plays you can do that don't require Tour Guide that can get you to your Dante, to your IP Masquerena, that can get you to your Phoenix Enforcer. Alright, so Tour Guide isn't the end-all be-all, but man, it's really, really good in this deck. Next, we have Fiendish Rhino Warrior. When it hits the graveyard, you can send a Fiend monster from your deck to the grave. Again, this is another good Tour Guide target, or if you normal summon him, you can special summon a Fiend from your hand, level 3 Fiend from your hand, and ignoring its effect. So if you summon this and then special summon one of your Burning Abyss monsters, it won't be destroyed and you can still go into your Dante plays. So Fiendish Rhino Warrior, very versatile card in this deck, can do a lot of different things. I run it at 3. I understand those who want to run it at 2. That's fine. I would just warn you, sometimes you do want to see it. Sometimes it depends on what your opening hand is. That's what makes Burning Abyss a little difficult. So if you want to cut this, if there's a card to cut down to 2, from 3 to 2, it may be Fiendish Rhino Warrior, but in this build, I run it at 3. Next, we're getting into our actual Burning Abyss monsters. We have Graf, the Melon Branch of the Burning Abyss. This is, again, a Tour Guide target. You want to see this guy. If he is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon the Burning Abyss monster from your deck, except Graf. Usually that Burning Abyss monster is this next guy, which is Seer. We have 2 copies of Seer. 2 copies because you don't really want to see him in your opening hand. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's better to get him onto the field by Graf's effect. And what Seer can do, alright, this is what's great about Seer. We'll get to Dante in a second, but if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Burning Abyss monster in your grave except for Seer and special summon it. So this is going to really cause this really fun loop with Dante if you get the setup right. We'll explain that in a second. Seer and Graf, probably the 2 most important Burning Abyss monsters in the main deck, so you have to make sure you have these guys in there. They're a must include. We have Skarn, the Melon Branch of the Burning Abyss. He's a searcher. If he gets sent to the grave during the end phase, you can search a level 3 Dark Fiend type. Targets for this include any of the other Burning Abyss monsters. A target can be Tour Guide also, which is very good. So Skarn, very important searcher in this deck. I only run 2 because, again, you can recycle these guys. You can get this guy back to your hand from other cards' effects. So running 2 of him, it isn't a bad ratio. 3 just feels like too much. Next, we have Farfa, Melon Branch of the Burning Abyss. This guy, when he's sent to the graveyard, can banish a face-up monster until the end phase. And this guy, one thing I found is he's really, really good against Xyz monsters, specifically cards like Zeus. Because if they get the Zeus back at the end of the turn, but if you're banishing the Zeus, you're getting rid of his materials for good. So Farfa can really, really, really interrupt what your opponent's trying to do. Sure, it's not permanently banished, but if you banish an important monster during their turn that's really key to their plays, Farfa can be such a great card to use. And again, just like any of the other Burning Abyss monsters, he's recyclable. You can get him back and you can use him again. So Farfa, again, must include in this deck. Next, we have Alich and Libich in this deck. Alich, when he is sent to the grave, you can target a face-up monster field and negate the effects, just a monster negate. And Libich, you can special summon from your hand. Is this an ignoring effects? I believe it is. Effects are negated, yeah. So if you do have Libich sent to the graveyard, you can special summon another Burning Abyss monster, regardless of what else is on the field, because its effects are negated. It won't get destroyed because of it. One of these guys aren't, they're nice to have, I would say, but one of each I think is perfectly fine. Next, we have Absolute King Backjack. He is a Dark Fiend, so he synergizes well with the deck. So you banish him and you activate the top card of your deck. If it's a normal trap, you can set it. Which is really good because you have a lot of normal traps in this deck. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. That card can be activated during this turn. So the card you set using the Absolute King Backjack can be activated during this turn. which is really good. You can look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, then place them on the top of your deck in any order. Alright, so if you do that, you get your normal trap up there, you get the backjack effect, you can set it and then maybe even activate the trap card if need be. Some people run absolute backjack at 2, I think 1 is just fine. We have 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, or I would just say, you know what, 3 insert whichever hand trap here. Each format calls for a different main hand trap. Ash Blossom is just the most versatile, so in this particular build I have Ash Blossom, but if you want to sub this with, say, Ghost Ogre or Droll or whatever you want to sub this with, be my guest, but in this particular build I have Ash. Next we have Jackalope and Tsuchinoko. These guys are just level 3 extender, dark level 3 extenders. Again, if you need to get Dante out there or any of your other Xyz or Link monsters out there, it's nice to have these extenders in here. It synergizes well with the deck because it is a dark level 3. Next, we have Rfx Scythe and the Scythe package. Again, if you want to cut this from your deck, I can understand, but the Scythe lock is just too good. It's not that hard getting Dagda out to get Scythe, and obviously it synergizes well with Phoenix Enforcer, which is a big deal. We have 1 Called by the Grave. You know, I like the 1 Called by. We're not going with 3 cross out designator here. Called by is the pick. 2 Fusion Destiny for Phoenix Enforcer. It is at 2 now, thanks to the last ban list. Foolish Burial, again, just a free send for any of your Burning Abyss monsters if you need their effects. This is really good with a card like Farfa or Alitz or Libich. Foolish Burial, very good. 3 Infinite Impermanence. It's a hand trap and it's a normal trap, which is really good. Fiend Griefing. Target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, then you can send 1 Fiend type monster from your deck to the graveyard. So this is essentially a Foolish Burial on your opponent's turn. Again, you use this with cards like Farfa or maybe even Skarm. And obviously you use this with any of the Burning Abyss monsters, depending on what the situation calls for. But Fiend Griefing, it's basically an archetype, not an archetype, type Foolish Burial on your opponent's turn. Solemn Strike, Counter Trap, very good. Torrential Tribute, clean up the board. Paleozoic Dinomicious, it's a normal trap. It's searchable through Trap Trick. You can banish the card, and then even if you have to activate another trap, you can special summon the Paleozoic from your graveyard to the field, which is really nice. Trap Trick can search all the normal traps. 2 of it's really good. Ice Dragon's Prison can be a house of a card. You know, especially if you're facing a deck with all the same type, you take control of something, then banish stuff, or even just simply taking control of the monster is really good too. Ice Dragon's Prison, very good. Needle Sealing, very throwback OG old card. When there are 4 more monsters on the field, destroy all face-up monsters. You'll probably have 4 more monsters on the field. Plus, if you're destroying your monsters, it's not the biggest deal in the world because that'll trigger certain, well, not trigger, you can activate the optional Burning Abyss monster or Dante effects that come along with it. And next we have Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Discard 1 card, that's key, then target 1 card in your opponent controls. Place that target on the top of the deck. Again, if you're discarding a Burning Abyss monster, you can get that effect, and this is also a piece of removal. So this is the main deck. Yes, 50 cards, but as you can see, a lot of these, you can search a lot of these cards. You can recycle a lot of these cards. So I think it's very, very solid, but let's look at the extra deck. Destroy your Phoenix Enforcer, it's just, you can put it in any deck. It works with this deck very well, especially if you're able to get the Scythe lock online. Phoenix Enforcer is a key card for that. We have Dante Pilgrim of the Burning Abyss. He'll come up basically based off of Beatrice's effect. Good card. Next, we have the main guy here, Dante Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Now, fun fact about him, you can detach and send the top card from your deck to the graveyard, and he gains 500 for each card sent that way. But also, he gets into a fun little loop with Seer. So what's fun about Dante is if this you can target 1 Burning Abyss card in your graveyard and add it to your hand, and Seer can special summon a card. So you would make Dante a Chain Link 1 to target Seer, Seer Chain Link 2 to target Dante, So Seer will be added to your hand, Dante will be special summoned, and now you have a free resource in your hand and an extra body on the field. It's a very, very good loop, especially if it's happening on your opponent's turn as well. Next we have Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. Hopefully one day she comes to 3. This is a great way to utilize that free Seer resource, because all you have to do is overlay this on top of the Dante and discard the Burning Abyss card from your hand, usually discard Seer. And yeah, and you can detach. You can detach one material from this card, send one card from your deck to the grave. If this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's how you can summon your Pilgrim of the Burning Abyss. Beatrice, really good card. We have Xyz monsters, so naturally we have Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus Sky Thunder, of course. We have Phantom Knights of Break Sword. It's a piece of removal. It is also a rank 3, which synergizes well with the deck. Number 49, Fortune Tune. This card can be annoying to people because he's just on the field and he's hard to get rid of. All you have to do is just detach cards and he can't be destroyed. And also, he can help you gain life points too. So just a good little Xyz card to have. On to the links. We have Cherubini, Ibon Angel of the Burning Abyss. This is just a Burning Abyss link monster. It's only a link 2, and they can also send cards from the deck. It works kind of similar to Dante, but not really. It can also help your other cards avoid destruction as well. So Cherubini, very good for this deck. We have Artifact Dagda to search your Rfx Scythe from the deck and set it, and then eventually destroy it with your Phoenix Enforcer to lock your opponent from special summoning. Nightmare Unicorn, which will lead into Access Code Talker for your big game-ending plays. IP Masquerena, which works really well with this deck. If you're able to get Masquerena and Beatrice on the board at the same time, essentially you're able to get a Nightmare Unicorn out there, which causes disruption, and you'll also be using your Seer resource that you got back from your Dante effect. So IP Masquerena, very good. This card is almost always online when it's on the field. Verti Anaconda to get out Phoenix Enforcer and Appaloosa for negation. So that is the extra deck. It's a very, very tight extra deck. You know, basically all these cards are pretty important. So it's very, very tight. It's hard to really make any significant changes to it. And for the side deck, we have Nibiru for, you know, to do Nibiru things. If you want to swap your Ash Blossoms for it. Lava Golem, it's a piece of removal, which is pretty good. Dark Ruler No More if you're going second to shut off your opponent's effects. We have 2 Raigekis for monster removal. If you have Lightning Storm, you put Lightning Storm in there instead of Raigeki. But most people have Raigeki, so it's just a really, really good card. With no conditions, you just activate it and boom. Same thing with Harpy's Feather Duster, just a good side deck card. Twin Twisters works really well with this deck because you discard cards to activate it, and your Burning Abyss monsters want to be in the graveyard. Plus, it is spell and trap removal. Solemn Judgment, just a really great card all around. Again, if you want to swap any of these traps to use your Solemn Judgment, go for it. And then Anti-Spell Fragrance, essentially replacing Imperial Order as the anti-spell, you can't activate spells card. So this is my Burning Abyss deck profile. 50 cards, not a lot of people like that, but this deck is very, very solid. It's been very good for many years now. This deck never really seems to go away. It's consistent. It has a decent power level. It can catch your opponent off guard. And it's just very, very fun once you really get the hang of it.